So the most basic challenge that most professionals face when they want to switch careers is that they don't have the relevant experience in the new industry or function. So what can they do to overcome this?
See, this is a fundamental roadblock to being able to switch careers successfully. And we call this the permission paradox, where you can't get the job without having the experience, and you can't get the experience without having the job. And it impacts so many people. It's very important to understand that the real issue here can be solved, but only if you understand the types of shifts, okay, and the difficulty of the shifts that lie in front of you. So there are three types of shifts, okay. The first shift is changing industries, okay, and that's a relatively easy shift to make. The second shift is changing functions. Now that's moderately difficult, that's slightly more difficult. And then the third shift is changing both industries and functions. And that is the most difficult of all shifts. See, please understand that industry functions, functions apply to most all industries. Sales, information technology, marketing, operations, human resources, accounts, finance, R&D, product development, supply chain. These will cross multiple industries. They exist in FMCG and retail, oil and gas, they exist in renewable energy, automotive, telecom, metals and minerals, pharmaceuticals and healthcare. So these are, functions that will go across multiple industries. And developing industry knowledge is much easier. Getting involved with the specifics and understanding the behind the scenes of how an industry operates is relatively easier versus developing functional knowledge. So, for example, if someone wants to go from product development to supply chain, okay, now the knowledge that you need for product development, okay, is very different versus the knowledge that you need for supply chain. Supply chain may include, calculating shipping and freight rates and understanding the imports and exports process, customs, bonds, bonded warehouse, all of these things. So it's a very different ball game versus product development, which is where you're trying to understand the needs, of customers. So the functional knowledge required in both of these areas is very, very different. And this is truly the value of education. So when we go to college and we study a particular discipline, we go very deep into that discipline. And that opens that door. It opens the door to be able to create a career or build a career in that functional discipline. Now, this is a little harder to do because 10 years into your career, if you want to shift from finance to sales or from supply chain to product development or from operations to marketing, the functional knowledge that you will require to be able to make this shift is going to be very different, right? And it's going to take some time before you acquire that baseline where you can contribute in that function. So a functional shift is a little more difficult. The third shift, which is the most difficult, is an industry shift and a functional shift. And the issue here is that you are dealing with two variables. So you need to create an accelerated dual learning plan. Okay, you need to create a baseline of experience, interaction, involvement with the industry and with the function, right? So there is a set of customized strategies that we use. There's some strategies are direct strategies, like getting the credentials, demonstrating the competency, okay, to be able to open those doors. And some are indirect strategies. One of the indirect strategies is masquerading as the leader. You'd rather ask for forgiveness than ask for permission. Nobody else is leading the initiative and you just take the initiative to start leading that particular area. It can work in certain circumstances. In certain circumstances, you can get a bit of a slap on the back of your hand. So, there are a multitude of direct and indirect strategies that are used in combination, very specific to the situation that a working professional is in to create the right career switch. So if it's a complicated shift like shifting industries and functions, for those kinds of shifts, it requires a very deep dive. It requires a very deep dive, and it's going to be a 6, 8, 10 month process. It's not going to happen overnight. This is not something that you will solve in a couple weeks or a month or even a quarter. So you need to approach it by design. You cannot approach it from just a place of desire. I would urge people to engage with this area with their eyes open and not just come at it that, I'm bored now and I want to shift and I'm just playing the game blind.